Okay, this is lesson 3.5, graphing with slope-intercept form. Up to this point, we have graphed lines using a table, and we generally chose our domain to be -2 to +2 using the integers, and we also graphed using x and y intercepts. Now, this is my favorite way to graph. I think it's the quickest way to graph, and that's using slope-intercept form. And in slope-intercept form, it is the form y equals mx plus b. So you must solve the equation for y. Remember, the standard form is ax plus by equals c, but we are looking to solve this equation for the y. When you solve it for the y, the coefficient with the x is called the m, it's the slope, and the constant number is the y-intercept. In this particular equation, y equals 1/3 x plus 1. The 1/3 is the slope, the y-intercept is the 1. When you go to graph this, you plot the y-intercept first, and then from there you rise and run with the slope. So rise 1, run 3, put your second point, and you draw your line. So here's some problems for us to work with. They want us to identify the slope and the y-intercept. So here, yay for us, they've given it to us in slope-intercept form. So the m, or the slope, is the 5, and the b, which is the y-intercept, is -3. It's subtract 3 in the equation, but when you bring down the term, it's a -3. Now problem 2, we have to go ahead and solve this equation for the y. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 3x from both sides. So I have -3y equals the -3x plus 12. Now I divide every term by the -3 and simplify. So y equals positive 1x, or just x, minus 4. So my slope is the 1, oh mercy, 1, and my y-intercept is -4. Same thing over here. I'll subtract x, but I'm going to really subtract 1x. I want to put the coefficient with it. So if I subtract 1x, I get a -1x plus 6. And then I'll divide everything again by the 4. So now I have y equals -1/4 x plus 6/4 simplifies to 3/2. I do want to keep this as a fraction for now. Oops. And my slope is the -1/4. My y-intercept is the 3/2. Okay, next they're going to ask you to graph these. And at first they'll be nice and they'll give it to you right in y-intercept form or slope-intercept form. So here the slope is the -2/3. The y-intercept is the +1. And remember, we start on the y-intercept. It's on the y-axis, not the x. And then my slope is -2/3. I know if it's negative, it's going to slope down in this direction, like I'm going down a hill. So if I go up 2, I have to go back 3 so that it'll slope down. Or I could go down 2, and then I have to go to the right 3. And then we'll go ahead and draw the line. And since we're not restricting any domains here, draw it with the arrow in both directions. Problem 21, for an example, we have the slope is 4/3 and the y-intercept is the -5. So I'll come down to -5. I cannot go down 4, so I'm forced because of this graph paper to go up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's a positive slope, so I need 1, 2, 3, my point to be up here so that when I graph it from left to right, it's going up. Okay, again, they're not always going to be so kind and give it to you in slope-intercept form, but we can put it in slope-intercept form. Here I'll subtract 4x from both sides, so I get negative 3y equals a negative 4x minus 6. Divide by the negative 3. And y equals positive 4/3. Now be careful, negative divided by negative is positive, and positive or plus 2. So my slope is the 4/3. My y-intercept is 2. So I come up to the 2. Same thing, I can't go up 4 because they've limited me on my graph paper, so I go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's positive slope, so if I go this direction and graph it, it's going to be negative. So I have to go to the left 3. And when I draw the line, that's a positive slope, so we're good. Okay, the next problem is fun, fun, fun. Talking about squirrels, pesky squirrels. A family of squirrels takes up residence in the roof of your house. You call a company to get rid of the squirrels. The company traps the squirrels and then releases them in a wooded area. The company charges $30 to drop off the traps and then $15 for every squirrel that it traps because it has to get rid of the squirrels. So the total cost equation is cost equals 30 plus $15 per squirrel. And again, S is the number of squirrels taken away. So it is in slope-intercept form. My slope is the 15. It's the rate of change, $15 per squirrel. And my y-intercept is the 30. It takes $30 to take away the squirrel. So I'll come up here and put my y-intercept on the 30. My slope is 15, so I'm going to rise 15. 30 plus 15 is 45, so maybe right around in here, because 50 would be right around in here. So 45 I'll say is here, and then my run is 1. And then when I graph this, I technically want to just graph a ray. Oops, I want the arrow. Oh no, I think I put the arrow at the right. Nope, I didn't. I want the arrow to be at the end, not at the beginning. So it'll look like this. And again, I want the arrow here because I can't have negative squirrels and I can't have negative cost. Part B says, okay, suppose they're going to up their fee. Now it's $18 to take away each squirrel. It's still $30 for the traps. So now my slope is 18. My y-intercept is still 30. So I'll start at the same point, but now I'm going to go up to 48 and over 1. So right around here, I know that I don't have excellent control on this, but what you need to see is it's going to be a little bit steeper. And then it says, how much more does it cost for the company to trap 4 squirrels after the fee is raised? Well, the cost for the original one is $30 plus 15 times 4 squirrels, or 30 plus 60. So it's going to cost $90 with the original fee. And now when they make the fee go up, it's 30 plus 18 times 4. So the cost is 30 plus, let's see, that's 72. So the cost is now 102, but it says how much more. So to figure that out, we're going to go ahead and subtract 102, subtract 90, and it's going to cost $12 more, because it's really costing $3 more per squirrel, and there are 4 squirrels. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, last type of problem. 2 lines in the same plane are parallel if they don't intersect. So we know that, like rungs on a ladder, we don't want them to intersect, otherwise we'd have a hard time climbing the ladder. Railroad tracks are parallel. What happens is if you're given two lines, the lines or equations of the lines are actually parallel if they have the same slope. They have to be having the same rate of change. So you don't even have to graph these out. All you have to do is figure out the slopes of these lines. They do have to have a different y-intercept though, because if they have the same slope and the same y-intercept, then technically they're the same line. So this equation right here, to solve it for y, I'm going to go ahead and subtract off the 2x, so I get y equals negative 2x plus 5. And this one I'm just going to rewrite it. So I have y equals 2x minus 6. I just like to look at it with the y on the left-hand side. So my slope here well, I'll just go like this, equals negative 2 with a y-intercept of 5. My slope here is a positive 2 with a y-intercept of negative 6. The slopes are not the same, so they're not parallel. We'll try these. Here, my first one, the slope is negative 6/10 with a y-intercept of 2. This one right here, I have to solve it for the y. So I will subtract 3x, divide by 5. And since this isn't a decimal, I will turn this slope into a decimal, but technically, you know, we really want it to be negative 3/5 if we were to graph it, but they're not asking us to graph this. So it is negative 6/10 x plus, I'm going to leave this as 8/5 because it doesn't really matter as long as it's not 2. So my slope is negative 6/10 and my y-intercept is 8/5. My slope is the same, so yes, they are parallel. Okay, like I promised, here is your assignment if you want to go ahead and get started. You will need some graph paper. I'm going to guess that most of you probably did not take it home, so if you didn't take it home and you don't have any of your own, then you can always print some off if you go to my website, which obviously you know how to get to because you are watching the video. If you look at the sidebar and just go to Algebra Worksheets, click on it, and then you'll have the choice to do some graph paper. Come in tomorrow with your questions.